Hi everybody, Chris Waters here from Pixel Splash Website Design based here in Geelong for Geelong businesses, and today I want to talk to you about the benefits of choosing a smaller website design agency for your next website design project over a larger one, why you would do that. Now, as a bit of context, I've worked at larger website design agencies in the past, and I've sat in my little cubicle, with all the other developers in the room, kind of heads down, churning out work. I've seen the whiteboards with lists and lists of websites, in the to-do category. And so I'm speaking from a place of experience in regards to having those experiences and knowing what it's like and seeing what kind of websites get churned out and the rate they get churned out. So I'm not just slamming big website design agencies here just because Pixel Splash, we're a bit smaller and we keep ourselves small for a reason. We actually believe that we want the best website design experience for your business, and we believe that's best done with a smaller team. So we're not just smashing big guys, we're actually saying why it's better to choose small. And so I want to give you 4 reasons. I know I love my numbers here at Pixel Splash. If you watched video tutorials before, you know that it's always 1, 2, or 3 or 4 reasons. But I want to give you 4 reasons why you should choose to go with a smaller website design agency when you want to build your next website. The first reason is this. With a smaller website design agency, you actually get a quicker production timeline. You wouldn't think that's the case. You'd think that when you go with a larger web design agency with hundreds of workers that your website will get churned out quicker. It's not actually true. And the reason it's not true is that all those those website design agencies that have hundreds of workers, well, those hundreds of workers are working on maybe 10 projects each at a time. And so they're going between them constantly doing just a bit of design here, a bit of design here. Once they finish their design, they then send it to their production manager or their team manager, who then sends the email to the client saying, all right, we've done those changes, have a look at it. The website design client gets back to the project manager with changes or revisions. They send it back to the worker, and you can see why it slows down when there's a middleman involved. And the fact is, the reality is that for these larger website design agencies, they need a middleman. They need a project manager, because otherwise there's just too much going on to keep track of. And so that tends to happen with larger ones, is that each designer has maybe 10, 20 websites that they're working on, and it really slows the production timeline out. So I've seen website designs go on for more than a year, more than 12 months when the original contract was signed and the design work was started. It's simply because the design agency is just too big, there's too much communication going on. There's too much in one sense, but not enough in another, and things get really slowed down. The second thing is this, and it's somewhat related to the first. With a smaller website design agency, you actually get clearer channels of communication. Now, here at Pixel Splash, for instance, I'll use us as an example. We don't have a project manager. We have myself as the designer and a few other designers that we contract out to, and those designers are responsible for the design of that website. They're responsible for liaisoning with the client of any given client that they have, and so we don't have that middleman. And so when you're speaking about revisions or changes that you want made to your website, with a smaller website design agency, you're generally speaking with the designer. So you're cutting out the middleman, and you're cutting out that lost in translation phenomenon that we see when a client says, I want you to change the title of that particular page to pink, and then the website designer gets an email from the product manager saying, change that particular paragraph to pink, which was not what was originally said, but that things get lost in communication. With a smaller website design agency, you're generally speaking straight to the designer. So when the client says to the designer, change that heading to pink, the designer goes, okay, I'll change it to pink, and he or she changes it to pink. And so you get this clearer line of communication, which is so important when you're dealing with the website, because there's so many complex elements that are being worked on that you want. The greater clarity you can have, the better. The third one is this, consistent design. I guess it feeds into the second, which feeds into the first, and probably you'll find that the fourth point will feed into the third, which will feed into the second, which will feed into the first. But what I mean by consistent design is when you're working on a website will have a color palette, it will have a design brief, it will look and feel a certain way. Now, when you've got one designer, that's easy to manage because the designer has it in their head what they're designing, and they're designing with those elements and those principles in mind. And so you get, at the end of the day, a really consistent visually planned website that looks fantastic. Everything makes sense. All the fonts match, the design and the colors match, and it just looks like it's a single object. It looks like it's something that's been thought and planned out. Now, unfortunately, with larger website design agencies, you more often find that there's more than one person working on the same site. You might have 3, 4, 5 people working on the site at once, or potentially changes are made. People work casually or part-time, and so changes are made. They're sent to the production manager, who then assigns it to a web designer. Doesn't matter. Doesn't have to be the same web designer. It can be anyone, and they don't necessarily have in their mind the same design elements that were originally agreed upon. And so they could just create their content however the product manager communicated it to them, however accurately, back to that second point, and then they churn it out and they send it back. And you'll find you get really messy looking websites that you can tell that something's not right, and it wasn't designed by the one person, it was designed by 50 people, and that's reflected in the quality of the work. And so with a smaller website design agency, you don't get that, because generally you have the one designer for the website. They know exactly what's going on with that website. They know all the various intricacies and the functions and the features of that website. They know it back to front. They know it like the back of their hand, because they've designed it all. And so when it comes to making changes, they know what to do. The fourth one is this design priority, which I'm right, it does feed back into the third, which feeds the second, which feeds the first. I spoke about at the start how that when I used to work at a larger website design agencies, they had that whiteboard, which has all the websites that are in staging, all the websites that are in the design phase, all the websites that are ready to go live. And they're this massively long list of website names. Unfortunately, when you go with a larger website design agency, your website just becomes a name on that list. However high it is on that priority, however low, it's just a ticket to be assigned to a designer, to be churned out, to be sent back, to be resolved. You could be a 1 in 50, you could be a 1 in 100, you could be a 1 in 500, you simply don't know. And so when you send changes to your web designer, let's say it's a big agency, it goes to a product manager, a team manager, a project manager, they assign it to their web designer. They might have 70, 80, 90 other things to do that day. Who knows when I'm going to get around to doing your website? Now, when you go with a smaller design agency and it's a single designer, they'll be able to tell you straight away, okay, things are a bit busy, I'll get it to you by the end of Tuesday, or expect it done by this time, or yes, sure, we can make that change now. I've got, an hour to spare, or whatever. You have that clearer lines of communication, so you know exactly what's going on with that website. The designer can tell you exactly what's going on with that website, and they can give your website the priority that it deserves. Here at Pixel Splash, we limit the number of websites that we're working on so that we don't fall into that trap, so we don't have that issue. And if someone comes to us and wants a website design, and we currently have a few on the go, we'll actually say, I'm sorry, but we can't do that at the moment. We can do it in 1 month, 2 months time, but you'll have to wait. And that might be difficult at the start for the client to hear, but in the long run, it's actually better for them, because they'll get the service and the attention that they deserve, and not what these bigger, larger, evil website corporations, no, I'm just joking, just larger, can't afford to keep up with, basically. So there are 4 reasons why it's better to choose a smaller website design agency over a larger one. And as always, here at Pixel Splash, if you want a website designed and you're a Geelong small business, we would love to help you. We'd love to sit down and have a coffee and discuss your project with you. And you can contact us via our website, which is pixelsplash.com.au. You can email us at info@pixelsplash.com.au, or you can call us as well. We'd love to chat. All right, have a good day.